There was no issue.
You was not in the ambulance with my son.
Chris got through the fight. He won the fight.
He was touch and go in the ambulance. He was touch and go. And I'm saying to you, the public don't see that.
Well, this doesn't look good on you as the father allowing this to go ahead then, surely.
He's a grown man. He's 37.
Exactly. No, he is.
But why is your son putting himself through this experience again?
Money.
Nothing more than that? I mean, we heard a lot of noise, didn't we, about
obviously
holding up the legacy, the Eubank and the Benn names.
Talking about legacy.
Heritage. Your achievements.
But it's, you know, I don't speak about my achievements. I speak about righteousness. Speak about what is correct, what is decent,
but the narrative
what is
around
true.
this fight.
Stops eggs being smashed on people and certain things being said before the fight. But once that bell goes, all that respect is gonna go out the window.
Oh, I mean, listen, he ain't my cup of tea, but I haven't got to like him, you know, and that's that. But ultimately, we're going to both go in there and put it all on the line, and the best man's going to win, which I believe will be myself. Well, first off, this ends here.
It started as a simple discussion about Eubank Jr.'s comeback, but within seconds, it turned into an emotional war of words. Froch didn't hold back, and what he told Chris Eubank Sr. left the entire boxing world stunned.
But we're here to talk about the rematch, Eubank and Benn. So your opinion on it, based on what you're saying, do you want this fight to happen or not?
Okay, you're talking to me about that.
Because that's what we're here to discuss.
Again, you know, for 3 years I was saying to you that this fight shouldn't be because the weights are wrong. I said I'll never be proved wrong because I am standing on the rules. So I've said all that I've had to say. It doesn't change. So I'm not going to go bleating on the same subject. You will see. There will be consequences. Wait.
Chris Eubank Sr. has openly admitted that he was never in favor of this fight taking place. He explained his reasoning, pointing to the dangerous weight cuts and dehydration clauses that, according to him, left his son completely drained. When Froch reminded him that nothing serious happened in the first fight, Eubank Sr. snapped back, telling Froch to keep his mouth shut, emphasizing that he was the one who sat in the ambulance with his son, not Froch. That's when Froch fired back, confronting Eubank Sr. for not standing firm on his beliefs and still allowing the fight to go ahead despite his concerns.
Dehydration is dangerous.
I totally understand your point, but the fighters don't think about the...
I'm not talking about them.
dangerous.
I'm not talking about the fighters because no one's listening. I'm talking about the fighters who are watching these two fighters. Watch what happens. You know, these promoters who know nothing about...
Well, we've already seen
art
it.
and
We've
craft
seen the
of-
first fight, though, and there was no issue. There was no issue.
You was not in the ambulance with my son.
Chris got through the fight. He won the fight.
He was touch and go in the ambulance. He was touch and go. And I'm saying to you, the public don't see that.
Well, this doesn't look good on you as the father allowing this to go ahead then, surely.
He's a grown man. He's 37.
Exactly. No, he is.
Froch went on to slam Chris Eubank Sr. for continuing to promote the fight despite openly disliking the idea of it. When Eubank Sr. responded that he was more than happy to do so, Froch quickly fired back, reminding him that he shouldn't raise such concerns if he's still backing the event. After all, every 160-pound fighter goes through the same weight challenges. Eubank Sr., however, stood firm in his stance, insisting that his real issue lies with the stupidity of promoters who enforce dangerous rehydration clauses that can leave fighters seriously weakened or even disabled.
Listen to this.
You're here promoting the fight.
What can I do? I'm promoting it.
Yeah, promoting it. Of course you are. Having a conversation about this is going to go out. It's going to be fantastic to build the fight.
Fine.
Okay. If you feel so strongly about this fight in the weight division, which I
Yes.
think you should move on from, I think you should pass it. I honestly think you should embrace the rematch, get behind your son, and I think he's going to be fine.
I'm always behind my son.
He's going to be fine.
I'm always behind my son. What I will not be behind is the stupidity and the incompetence of these promoters who are flouting the rules in terms of weights, and this is how fighters end up disabled.
160-pound fighters do it all the time.
Chris Eubank Sr. isn't the only one who dislikes this matchup. Simon Jordan has also voiced his strong opposition to it. During an interview, Eubank Sr. openly admitted that his son, Chris Eubank Jr., is taking this fight purely for money. Despite being his father and someone expected to back his son publicly, Eubank Sr. dismissed the idea that Jr. is fighting for legacy. In his words, there's nothing about this fight that represents legacy. It's all about financial gain. Simon Jordan echoed that sentiment, slamming the fight for being driven by money rather than meaning.
Mr. Eubank, I have never liked this fight for whatever my opinion is worth, and I'm sure you'll tell me what my opinion is worth in a minute. But why is your son putting himself through this experience again?
Money.
Nothing more than that? I mean, we heard a lot of noise, didn't we, about
obviously
holding
not.
up the legacy, the Eubank and the Benn names.
Talking about legacy.
Heritage.
Heritage.
Your achievements.
This is, yeah, but it's, you know, I don't speak about my achievements. I speak about righteousness. Speak about what is correct, what is decent,
but the narrative
what is
around
true.
this fight is the backdrop. Is if it was Fred Bloggs and Norman Nomark, it would be no interest, because your name's above the door, and because Nigel's name's above the door, it can't help but be drawn into that situation where people talk about.
Not only that, but Chris Eubank Sr. also revealed that the first fight between Eubank Jr. and Conor Benn was far from impressive. In his conversation with Simon Jordan, Eubank Sr. admitted that both fighters were merely trading on the legacy and fame of their fathers. He didn't hesitate to acknowledge that the first fight was a below-par performance from both sides, not the kind of showing that lived up to the history or expectations surrounding their names.
Because I made an observation about the performance of the two fighters, and you'll disagree with me and tell me I have no right to say this. I think it's the least they could have done was put out the performances they put in the first fight, because they're representing something more than just a big bag of money. They traded on your currency, which is one of my issues with this fight.
Despite all that, the stakes are now higher than ever. In a recent interview, Chris Eubank Jr. admitted that there has been a strange sense of respect growing between him and Conor Benn, something he believes will completely fade once they step into the ring. He jokingly described the idea of planting an egg over Conor Benn as a sign of respect, but quickly added that once the bell rings, all that respect will be thrown straight out of the window.
We now have that respect for each other. Okay, we did the 12 rounds. We had that amazing fight. There is a respect there now, and that stops eggs being smashed on people and certain things being said before the fight. But once that bell goes, all that respect is going to go out the window.
On the other hand, Conor Benn hasn't been holding back in expressing his dislike for Chris Eubank Jr. At a recent Grand Arrival, Benn made it clear that Eubank Jr. isn't his cup of tea and admitted he doesn't particularly like him. However, he confidently stated that the best man will win, subtly hinting that he sees himself as the winner. Most importantly, Benn declared that the rivalry between their families will end with this fight, vowing to close this chapter once and for all.
Oh, I mean, listen, he ain't my cup of tea, but I haven't got to like him, you know, and that's that. But ultimately, we're going to both go in there and put it all on the line, and the best man's going to win, which I believe will be myself. Well, first off, this ends here. The rivalry ends here. This is it. The Benn Eubank chapter's done.
The idea of closing this chapter is further reinforced by Conor Benn's father, Nigel Benn. In a recent interview, he addressed his son's future and weighed in on the ongoing speculation about whether Conor Benn and Chris Eubank Jr. might go for a trilogy after this fight. According to Nigel Benn, even if his son wins this bout, a trilogy is out of the question. He openly dismissed the idea, making it clear that this rivalry will end here.
But I mean, if Conor wins on Saturday, you're talking a trilogy, aren't you?
He's going back down. That's his goal. That's his goal to be W.
So there's no trilogy in your eyes?
No.
Absolutely not.
No. I think after this fight, there won't be a trilogy anyway.
All the speculation and drama aside, the predictions are now rolling in. Johnny Fisher, who has closely observed Conor Benn's preparation in the gym under Tony Sims, has weighed in on the upcoming clash. He asserted that Benn will perform better this time and expects him to really make an impact in Chris Eubank Jr. According to Fisher, even in their first fight, Benn was just one round away from victory in a very close contest. This time, he believes Benn's improved temperament and focus point strongly toward a win. Fisher predicts that Conor Benn will come out on top, taking the fight in points.
I think Conor can do it this time. I think they'll learn from the way he boxed in the first fight. It was very close. I probably won round Chris Eubank Jr. Could have been a couple that way, could have been a couple the other way. I don't know, but it was very close. But I think the brain that Tony's got and the way the temperament I've seen of Conor Benn, I think the youthfulness of him as well will play a factor. I hope he can get the win in a points victory. I think he'll win on points.
Spencer Olivier also shared his thoughts, explaining why he's backing Conor Benn to get the better of Chris Eubank Jr. He pointed out that Eubank Jr. has spent the last decade at middleweight, and his stamina and energy aren't what they used to be. On the other hand, Benn brings youth, power, and non-stop pressure to the ring, with the damage he caused in their first fight proving just how dangerous his punches are. With Benn in peak physical condition and Eubank Jr. still feeling the effects of their previous battle, Olivier believes it's easy to see why the younger fighter is being tipped to come out on top this time.
It's the exact same format, and this is at 160 pounds, which is the middleweight limit, and that's the weight that Eubank's been boxing for the last 10 years. He actually used to box at super middleweight and come down to that weight, and I think that was, with Conor Benn, he's always boxed at welterweight. He moved up in weights, but Conor Benn is the fresher of the two. Chris Eubank Jr. is now 36 years of age, and we don't know what effects that had on him in that last one, because we saw the struggles he had to make the weight, the fines he picked up. He was severely dehydrated. He posted videos, didn't he, of the ambulance not being able to get out of this stadium, which he upset about as well. And you look at all that and you go, what effect will that have on a fighter at 36 years of age?
Olivier stressed that Conor Benn will come into the rematch fresher, sharper, and physically stronger than ever. He described the first fight as a true test of Benn's skill and resilience, where the younger fighter proved he could hang with the best. Looking at Chris Eubank Jr., Olivier highlighted the challenges he's faced with weight management, suggesting it has affected his performance and exposed weaknesses. While Eubank Jr. still relies on experience and mental toughness, Olivier believes those struggles are far from gone. With momentum and support firmly on Benn's side, Olivier sees the younger fighter holding a clear edge heading into this rematch.
That's the unknowns. Conor Benn will come in, he'll come in stronger than he did last time. It's whether Eubank can rekindle that again, and that's the interest of this contest. But Eubank missed the weight, and missing the weight, guys, let me explain about that. Like, when you miss the weight by a couple of ounces or whatever, and you're really tight at the weight, which he clearly is, that can affect the performance massively. And that was Eubank Jr. probably at one of his worst, but he used his mental strength and his discipline to pull himself through it. Yeah. But Conor, I think that was his first real test, and he come through it with flying colours. It's another fascinating fight. Conor Benn, a lot of people feel, will win this one because he's the fresher of the two. But can Eubank find something from somewhere?
Tony Bellew has added even more fuel to the fire ahead of the rematch, shaking up the prediction game with his latest take. The former Cruiserweight World Champion believes that the tables might have turned, with the quick turnaround potentially favoring the younger, sharper Conor Benn. With both fighters carrying unfinished business and pride on the line, Bellew's comments have reignited the buzz, suggesting that Benn could finally have the edge to close the chapter this time.
He's 37, the size, but ultimately, to recover from fights like they just went through, and believe you me, that was a war that you can't have more than 3 of them in your career, because after you have 3 of them, it starts to show. The signs, the telltale signs are there, whether it's slurred speech, whether it's your reflexes start coming out of the joint, you're getting caught more and more. They do show. Now, with the turnaround speed of this fight, it will benefit Conor Benn more. The younger man will be the fresher man. The younger man will be, I don't want to put him as the favourite, but I just think the older man and the heavy man will come stronger later on in the fight. I think it will show out again. I just feel, in my opinion, I think he
While Eubank Jr.'s experience, chin, and composure in tough moments can't be ignored, Bellew warns that those veteran traits might not be enough in this rematch. The intensity, pace, and relentless hunger that Benn brings could prove decisive as the fight unfolds. If Bellew's instincts are right, fans could be in for a dramatic and brutal turn in one of British boxing's most fiery rivalries.
He learns more from the last fight, Conor Benn, and I think this time he possibly does get rid of him and learns from the mistake, because he had him out on his feet 2 or 3 times, out on his feet, and he just didn't have it in to press him. When I spoke to him before the fight, I kept saying to him, Conor, it's going to get hard, and he was like, Tony, I'm so fit, I can do 20 rounds, and I said, mate, trust me, at some point in this fight you're going to tell, and he wouldn't have it. He would not have it. And I said to him, you don't understand, what you do in the gym is different to what goes on under the light. And that was his first fight under the light on a huge occasion. I know he's had big fights in the past, but this was one of huge magnitude, ones that we've all shared here, and they're different to normal fight night, they're different to title fights, they're different to anything he's ever experienced before.
Roy Jones Jr., the former 4-weight world champion, has weighed in on the rematch, predicting an even more competitive showdown this time. He believes Conor Benn will make smart adjustments from their first fight, raising both the intensity and excitement of the bout. While Jones Jr. acknowledges that Chris Eubank Jr.'s size still gives him an edge, he expects this fight to be faster paced, sharper, and far more thrilling than their initial encounter.
I expect another brilliant fight just like it was the first time, and I'm looking forward to Eubank probably should win it again because of his size, but I think it'll be a better fight than the first.
Hamza Shiraz, one of Britain's rising super middleweight stars, is confident that Conor Benn won't just narrowly defeat Chris Eubank Jr., he'll stop him outright. Undefeated at 21-0-1 and preparing for his own major fight, Shiraz's opinion carries serious weight. He noted that the first bout, though ending in a unanimous decision for Eubank Jr., took a heavy toll on him, and that kind of wear doesn't simply vanish. Considering Eubank's age and the quick turnaround, Shiraz believes Benn will exploit his vulnerabilities and secure a stoppage victory in the rematch.
It's an interesting one, and I think Conor Benn will get the win. I think he'll get the win. I feel like Eubank Jr. doing that all again. It's not like he's young and his body can recover from it. His body wouldn't have recovered from what happened to him last time in terms of the weight cut and that fight as well. It took a lot out of him. Took a lot out of both of them, but I feel like Conor Benn will probably get the stoppage this time.
Carl Frampton, the former 2-weight world champion, sees this rematch as a battle for revenge. He believes Conor Benn will get the upper hand over Chris Eubank Jr. this time, and reflecting on their first fight, Frampton points out that such bouts are both physically and mentally draining, and at Eubank's age, the toll is even greater. While he acknowledges that Eubank's experience and resilience make him a tough opponent, Frampton confidently backs Benn to come out on top.
I say revenge. I think Conor Benn's going to beat Eubank this time. I feel like a fight. The last fight was unbelievable, but fights like that take something out of you. And at Eubank's age, it takes a little bit more out of Eubank than it does out of Benn. I fancy Conor Benn to do it, but I mean then that means he'll do it again. And the money I'm sure the boys have made in the first fight, this fight coming up, and if they do a third one.
Paul Smith, former world title challenger, has been vocal about his belief that the rematch could swing in Conor Benn's favor. He points to how Benn hurt Eubank Jr. in their first encounter and believes the younger fighter has learned enough from that experience to potentially repeat it. Smith feels that Eubank's best days might be behind him, especially considering the toll from their initial clash and his past battles with other big middleweights and super middleweights.
I've said repeat from the minute it was made, but I just think the way Conor Benn hurt him in that fight and could hurt him, I think Benn might have enough in there to do it, and I just think it's just because I just think Eubank's done, and I've said this since he fought my brother Liam. My brother Liam was just in that bad a shape with his back that he couldn't do that in the second fight, but I think he's been done since then, and I think he's been ready there for the taking, and I think Benn should have learned enough in the first fight.
Smith acknowledges that Eubank Jr. may enter the rematch slightly sharper or better prepared, but he warns that getting caught by Benn could be a serious problem. With Benn's power and speed, even a fighter of Eubank's caliber isn't safe. Considering Benn's growth, Eubank's past wear and tear, and the lessons learned from their first fight, Smith believes Benn is a strong favorite to take control and potentially secure a stoppage.
To be able to do that, I do think Eubank might be a bit better, but I still think if you're getting caught by Conor Benn and getting hurt by Conor Benn when you're a big middleweight and you've been in there with big middleweights and super middleweights like Groves and everyone else and not being budged, then there's a problem, and the problem I think is he's probably had better days. But it was an entertaining fight the first time, and it's one I'll be watching this time because I think it'll be another good fight this time.
So here we are. The tension, the rivalry, and the stakes have never been higher. With predictions stacked and Benn and Eubank Jr.'s experience still in play, this rematch promises fireworks from the first bell to the last. Who will write the next chapter in this epic British boxing saga? Drop your predictions in the comments below and don't miss a second of the action. Hit that subscribe button, turn on notifications, and join us as we break down every punch, every round, and every twist in this ultimate ring rivalry showdown.